And welcome back to Wake Up Radio with Ryan, Ray, and Fuzz. We've got Marlo Scott, the owner of Sweet Revenge Cupcakes Beer and Wine Bar in New York City. She's joining us live this morning via Skype. Marlo, we were talking about some of the coincidences that you encountered in your path to success, and I want to talk about some of the naysayers, the people who didn't believe in you when you first started. There was a national retail chain god of sorts who you had went to for some advice, and he did not have positive things to say, did he?
No, he didn't. He was a very experienced gentleman. I totally respect the experience that he's amassed in his professional career. And I'd gone to him to get his take on my business plan, and unfortunately didn't hear what I was expecting to hear. I was hoping to hear, this is brilliant, this is genius. Instead, I did hear that that he thought I was really off base and off track in terms of the direction that I was headed with the business plan, because I, in my business plan, very much talked up about how this cupcake beer and wine bar would be all about the experience at Sweet Revenge, rather than be so product focused as places that traditionally or historically sell cupcakes. It's very transaction oriented. Go in, you buy your cupcake, and you leave. And my place is styled out like a kind of a vintage European bistro. We play a lot of kind of international tunes, reggae, Latin, bossa nova, and it would, in the business planning days, I envisioned a whole, ambiance, vibe, experience for patrons to come in and really indulge and enjoy and escape whatever was going on in their day while they were at Sweet Revenge. And in my conversation with him, as I was explaining what I was intending to do, he just said I had it all wrong, and that this was all about the cupcake and nothing more, and that there was no need to have an experience around it. It's just funny because he has been to my place a couple of times, and every time has been so complimentary and has completely admitted he was wrong.
But honestly, Marla, I mean, who starts an experience-based business like this, a business that's completely based on comfort and luxury, in a recession? I mean, you started this kind of business at the worst possible time, and I say that with my full heart, because despite all that, you kept moving forward and you brought it together. Now, you had some really tough times in the beginning. I think you even told me that you had to shut off some of the utilities at your home apartment just to keep making payroll.
Well, I did have impeccable timing in terms of choosing to open a business during a recession. I love a challenge. I think as entrepreneurs, we tend to just love those challenges. But once you start going down the path and you have your vision in sight and you believe in your dream and you're throwing everything you've got at it, really kind of the environmental factors that take place around you, while they do provide extra challenges and some pretty steep and tough ones at times, they're just obstacles that you've got to find a solution through or over or around. And I do think that I've been incredibly fortunate to have some amazing editorial coverage. The opportunity with Martha Stewart, getting written up by Time Out New York Magazine here, winning the Time Out New York Magazine Eat Out Award in spring 2009. There have been things that have happened along the way because I kept positively focused, forward focused, and I never questioned or doubted that I was on the right path, despite the economy being as tough as it has been and times when they were so lean. I just did what was necessary. I did what any small business owner has to go through and consider, think about, and do. And there were certain kind of amenities at home that I'd always taken it for granted that I had to ask from my own budget. A YMCA membership, health insurance, home internet, those kind of things where they were just necessary. It was necessary to strip down, run my life as simple as possible, coverage the bare basics, and just know that, for as long as it took, I was willing to roll up my sleeves and do what I needed to do just to power on. And so here we are in a very different environment with the economy picking up, and it's a palpable improvement in terms of people's, I think, attitudes and in their spending. At least that's what we're seeing here in New York, which is a relief and very exciting.
Marlo, I mean, I honestly have to tell you, I think you're a unique individual because most people would have given up last year. They wouldn't have made it this far. And despite all of the challenges, you kept going, which is what is so remarkable about what you've done. I mean, it's not an easy task to see how many months, for how many months were you struggling to make payroll? How long did that difficult, challenging time last in this new business venture?
The most challenging time was the first year, that proverbial first year. It was so hard. Trying to figure out what vendors to pay and when, who I could afford to pay, who I could afford to let slide. Luckily, in my past life, having worked for NBC in a finance role, I knew all about cash flow management, and I learned some very handy things about the timing of payments to vendors, which I applied to my own small business, and that's called vendor financing, where you kind of
Vendor financing, I love that.
vendor financing is where you kind of accumulate cash by not paying one vendor to pay another. So you kind of take terms and take your time in paying, and that helps extend your cash.
Marlo, you're a real inspiration.
I had to do that back then. So that first year was really the roughest, and then going past the first year, things started improving, and I started being able to breathe easier and sleep a little bit better at night.
Marlo, you're certainly an inspiration to other entrepreneurs. We are going to take another quick break, and when we come back, I'd like to talk a bit about some more of your lucky breaks. You've had an entire national media campaign that's been launched that features you, and it was completely for free. I don't believe that there was a single cent that you paid for that. We're going to talk more about that and some of your successes when we come back here on Wake Up Radio. Stay with us.